The air in our living room felt like it had been sucked out, leaving a vacuum where my heart used to be. You can't judge my friends, Tom. Sarah's voice cracked like a whip, her eyes blazing with a defiance I barely recognized. Her words hung there, sharp and jagged, slicing through the quiet hum of our suburban evening. I stood frozen, my coffee mug burning my palm, as the woman I'd loved for a decade defended the people I'd warned her about for years. The sting wasn't just her words. It was the way she looked at me, like I was the intruder in our own home. Our house on Maple Street was a postcard of normalcy. White picket fence, creaky hardwood floors, and the faint scent of lavender from Sarah's candles. But tonight, the warmth of those candles felt mocking. I'd come home from a 12-hour shift at the hospital, my scrub still smelling faintly of antiseptic, expecting the usual. Sarah curled up with a book, maybe a glass of wine, and a smile that made the day's chaos fade. Instead, I found her pacing, her phone clutched like a lifeline, her face a storm of guilt and fury. "Sarah, I'm not judging them," I said, setting the mug down, my voice low, trying to keep the tremor out. "I'm worried about you. Lena and Marcus. They're not good for you. They're using you." My words felt like throwing pebbles at a brick wall. Lena, with her sly smiles and endless emergencies, that always needed Sarah's money or time. Marcus, with his late-night texts and that too familiar way he leaned into her at parties. I'd seen the signs for months, years if I was honest, but love has a way of blinding you to the obvious. She laughed, a brittle sound that didn't reach her eyes. "Using me? They're my friends, Tom. They're there for me when you're not." Her words landed like a punch, and I flinched. I wanted to argue, to remind her of the nights I'd held her through her tears, the years I'd built my life around her. But something in her tone, a cold, sharp edge, stopped me. It wasn't just defensiveness. It was something deeper, something hidden. The first red flag had come a year ago, at Lena's birthday party. Sarah had been distant, her laughter too loud, her eyes darting to Marcus every time he spoke. I'd chalked it up to too much wine, to the stress of her new job at the law firm. But then came the late-night girls' trips that left her phone off for hours, the whispered calls she'd take in the backyard, the way she'd stiffen when I asked about her day. I'd rationalized it all. Trust, I told myself, was the foundation of our marriage. But trust is a fragile thing, and doubt is a slow poison. "Sarah," I said, stepping closer, my hands open like I could catch whatever was slipping away. "Just tell me what's going on. Please." My voice broke, and I hated it. I hated how small I felt, how the man who could handle trauma cases in the ER was unraveling in his own living room. She turned away, her shoulders rigid, her blonde hair catching the lamplight. "Nothing's going on, Tom. You're paranoid." But her voice wavered. And when she faced me again, her eyes were wet. Not with sorrow, with fear. The next few weeks were a blur of tension. I'd catch her staring at her phone, her fingers hovering over the screen like she was waiting for permission to breathe. I started checking the bank statements, something I'd never done before, and found withdrawals I couldn't explain. 500 here, 1,000 there, always to Lena's account, or emergency funds. When I asked, Sarah's excuses were flimsy, her temper flaring like a cornered animal. "You don't trust me," she'd snap, and I'd back off, hating myself for doubting her. But doubt has a way of growing roots. One night, I couldn't sleep, the weight of it all pressing on my chest. Sarah was out, another girl's night, and I did something I swore I'd never do. I checked her phone. The password was still our anniversary, a small stab of relief in the midst of my guilt. But then I saw the messages. Not from Lena. From Marcus. "Meet me at the usual spot. Don't tell Tom." My stomach lurched. I scrolled further, each text a fresh cut. Late-night plans, coded language, and one damning photo. A blurry shot of Sarah in Marcus's car, her head on his shoulder, his hand on her thigh. I don't know how long I sat there, the phone shaking in my hands, the world tilting under me. The woman I'd built my life with, the one I'd dreamed of growing old with, was a stranger. I wanted to scream, to smash something, but all I could do was wait for her to come home. When she did, at 2 a.m., her hair was mussed, her lipstick smudged. She froze when she saw me on the couch, the phone still in my hand. "Tom," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "What are you doing?" I held up the phone, my throat tight. Care to explain this? My voice was calm, too calm, like the quiet before a storm. Her face crumpled, but not with guilt, with anger. You went through my phone? She demanded, stepping forward. How dare you? How dare I? I stood, my voice rising despite myself. You're sneaking around with Marcus, Sarah. You're giving Lena our money for God knows what. And you have the nerve to act like I'm the bad guy. She opened her mouth, then closed it, her eyes darting to the side. For a moment, I thought she'd confess, that we'd finally face the truth together. But then her phone buzzed, and she lunged for it. I was faster, snatching it from the table. The screen lit up with a new message from Lena. Sarah, you idiot. Marcus told me everything. You're screwed. The words hung in the air like a death knell. I looked at Sarah, waiting for her to deny it, to explain it away. But she just stood there, her face pale, her hands trembling. Tom, she whispered. It's not what you think. Then what is it? I roared, my control snapping. Tell me, Sarah, what the hell is going on? She sank onto the couch, her head in her hands. It was supposed to be a surprise, she said, her voice muffled. Lena and Marcus, they were helping me plan something for our anniversary. A trip. I didn't want you to know. I stared at her, the words not landing. A surprise? A trip? The photo, the texts, the money, it didn't add up. You're lying, I said, my voice flat. You're lying and you know it. Her eyes met mine, and for the first time, I saw the truth. Not in her words, but in the way she couldn't hold my gaze. The betrayal wasn't just Marcus or Lena. It was her. She'd chosen them over me, over us, long before I'd ever suspected. The next morning, I packed a bag. Sarah begged me to stay, her voice raw with tears, but I couldn't hear her anymore. The woman I loved was gone, replaced by someone who'd let her friends drag her into a web of lies. As I walked out, the door clicking shut behind me, I heard her sob. No one can judge me, Tom. Not you, not them. But they already had. Lena's text was proof. Her own friends had exposed her, their loyalty as flimsy as her excuses. I drove away from Maple Street, the lavender scent of our home fading in my rearview mirror, and I wondered if she'd ever realize the truth. The people she'd defended had judged her out of our marriage long before I did.